Managing a remote team isn't easy. You must deal with communication breakdown, time zone differences, and that constant sense of disconnect. But here's the reality. 87% of employees are thinking about switching to remote or hybrid roles. And 79% say that having remote work options is now more important than salary. Clearly, remote work isn't just a trend, it is the future. If you want to attract and retain top talent, it is no longer an option to just think about remote work or hybrid work. It's a must. As a leader, how do you turn the common challenges of remote work into opportunities that drive success for your team and business? Hi, I'm Angela. After more than 10 years in MNCs and another 13 years as a digital entrepreneur, I can confidently say that a work from anywhere setup can create win-win-win outcomes for employees, leaders, and businesses alike. Currently, my business, Reading Graphics, operates with a fully remote team with people from more than 10 countries across different time zones. The business has definitely benefited from the diverse experience of an international team. But as leaders, what must we do to make it all work? In this video, we are going to look at the 3 biggest challenges of remote work and explore the practical steps to turn them into real opportunities for your team and your company. These solutions come from years of trial and error in reading graphics, combined with insights from books that I've read on remote work and team engagement. I've included some useful resources in the description below. Before we dive into the challenges, let's start with the end in mind. If you succeed in your remote work setup, what would a win-win-win outcome look like for you, your team, and your organization? There's a lot of debate about whether remote work is truly productive. Some companies are pushing for a return to office, while employees are pushing right back. We're going to skip that debate because, like it or not, remote work is here to stay. So let's just focus on the potential benefits that we can achieve if we do it right. For employees, remote work means doing away with lengthy commutes, freeing up time for their families, and having the flexibility of time and location to manage their personal and work life. For leaders and managers, remote work opens up a global talent pool, which allows you to find and retain the best people for your team. Not to mention that you can also enjoy some flexibility of remote work. In fact, 95% of workers want some form of remote work, and 83% says that flexibility makes them more loyal to their employers. That's food for thought. As for businesses, a remote workforce means lower overhead costs since you don't need large office spaces or constant equipment upgrades. Plus, satisfied employees lead to better productivity and lower turnover. Can you see how remote work creates better outcomes for everyone involved? But to get the best out of this arrangement, you've got to tackle the challenges head on. What are the 3 top obstacles to expect, and how can we turn them into winning outcomes? First, how can you collaborate effectively when your team is spread across different time zones? I struggled with this initially because I was used to an office setting where everyone was just a desk away. While it's convenient to get immediate answers in person, most of our questions can actually be addressed via emails or messages. The key is to realize that effective collaboration isn't about being in the same room. It's about bringing diverse talents together to create something valuable. And most of the time, you don't need people to participate real time. For things to work remotely, we need to adjust our communication strategy. Here are 3 simple guidelines that have worked well for my team. First, start with email or project management tools for non-urgent communications. Use shared documents like Google Docs or Figma, where everyone can add their inputs whenever they're available. About 80% of our decisions get resolved this way. Trickier issues can then be consolidated and resolved over a quick call. What if you need a quick answer within the hour? That's when instant messaging and chats come in. You can quickly resolve that with a message on Slack or Teams. There's no need for a full-blown meeting. My team uses WhatsApp quite frequently, with the understanding that there's no pressure to reply instantly unless you're tagged with an urgent request. Reserve group meetings like video or voice calls for when real-time interaction is truly required, like brainstorming complex problems, resolving conflicts or sensitive issues, or when you need everyone's input to coordinate moving pieces. In short, most collaborations do not require real-time interaction. By planning ahead for your work and establishing some work norms, you can save your team a lot of unnecessary meetings and interruptions, which frees them up to focus on more important work. Make sure that when you meet, it's for something that truly matters. Fewer meetings also reduce the headache of coordinating across time zones. Personally, I only take a couple of odd-hour calls each week at 8 p.m. Singapore time, since this timing works best for both US and Europe. We don't expect anyone to schedule calls in the wee hours of the morning. Every 6 months, we hold a mega team meeting where everyone comes together for a 1-hour update. This inevitably inconveniences some team members in challenging time zones, so we have to follow a very strict agenda, start and end on time, and it has been really effective so far. It's also a good idea to have at least one no-meeting day each week so everyone can get some solid work done without interruptions. Give it a try and your team will thank you for it. Let's move on to the next major challenge of remote work: performance tracking and accountability. How do you know if your team members are being productive when they are working remotely? This is something that managers tend to worry about. But here's the thing, why obsess over work hours when you can focus on what really matters, which is results? If the job gets done on time and meets expectations, does it really matter if it takes 2 hours or 20 hours? So let's focus on what's important by setting clear weekly and monthly goals with your team. Try using tools like OKRs to track progress. At a company level, break down annual targets into a quarterly objective with measurable key results. Then cascade it down to each department and team member, breaking it down into monthly and weekly priorities. That way, everyone knows what success looks like and what they must focus on. And as a leader, your role shifts from micromanaging hours to empowering your team. You become a facilitator, ensuring that everyone knows what to do and has the resources to do it. It's also important to ask, are those goals being met? At Reading Graphics, we don't count hours, we count results. If someone can deliver high quality work in less time, then they've earned the extra time. They can enjoy it, recharge themselves, or use it to take on new challenges and grow their career. This flexibility keeps people motivated and happy, which in turn brings better results for the company. Do check out our other video where we zoom in on how to set and achieve goals as a team. Now, let's move on to the final challenge, which is also the most neglected in remote teams, and that's team engagement. Trust and engagement are crucial for any high-performing team, but it's trickier when everyone's dispersed and you have limited face-to-face interactions. When I was leading a team in an office setting, it was so much easier to read the room, gauge the team dynamics, or sense the vibes during a face-to-face conversation. When you go for team lunches, visit each other's families over holidays, party together, and let your hair down, you bond at a deeper level and develop real friendships. In a remote setup, those natural interactions are missing. It's easy for team members to feel isolated, stressed, or disconnected, yet they keep it all to themselves. When you don't see your team members in person, it's hard to tell when someone is struggling. I've learned that it's better to look for the signs and check in proactively rather than wait for problems to surface. Drop a casual note like, "Hey, I noticed you've been a bit quiet. Is everything okay?" It's simple, but it shows that you care, and it also keeps the communication channels open. Well, I still have a lot to learn, but here are some techniques that have worked for me so far in building a sense of connection and belonging with the team. First, have a team directory. We have a shared document at Reading Graphics where everyone posts their photos and shares a bit about themselves, be it their work roles, interests, or personal goals. This helps us to see each other as real people, not just colleagues, and also to know who does what on the team. Second, prioritize time for one-on-one meetings. These focused interactions help you to interact with team members at a deeper level and to learn about their circumstances, needs, and challenges. Keep the camera on for such calls because you need eye contact to connect personally, and you need to read body language to identify early signs of burnout or disengagement. Use this time to check in not just on work, but also on how they're doing personally. It makes a big difference to have some face time with each person on the team at least once every 2 weeks. Of course, you can also encourage your team members to connect with each other outside of work. I'm in the midst of exploring virtual coffee chats, online team lunches, and even a year-end party for my team. Because such casual interactions really help to build a sense of camaraderie and trust. And finally, don't forget to acknowledge your team's hard work and achievements. Recognition can be as simple as a shout-out in the team chat or sending a thank you note. Each time we celebrate a small win or a milestone, it brings the team together and reinforces a culture of appreciation. I guess at the core, we leaders must remember that our team members are not just workers. They are also human beings with feelings, aspirations, and challenges. Every effort we make to show that we care and empathize with them will go a long way to building a strong and more resilient team. Obviously, there's a lot more to remote work. But if you get these 3 areas right, you have laid a strong foundation to tackle all other challenges. And above all, remember to trust your team, because this forms the backbone of a great remote team environment, and it affects all aspects of your team's work, from collaboration to performance and engagement. In fact, I strongly believe that you should only hire and work with people that you can trust. And trust has to be earned through consistency, integrity, and mutual respect. Which is why at Reading Graphics, we always test out new hires on a project basis first. We want to make sure that they have the right skills, share our core values, and can work well with the rest of the team before we bring them on board fully. Because when we trust people, we can empower them with the freedom to innovate, the confidence to take ownership, and the motivation to perform at their best. And that is what allows a remote team to move to greater heights. Managing a remote team doesn't have to be a struggle. If you focus on real collaboration, clear goals, and building trust, you can turn remote work into a real advantage. If you're just starting out, then a good place to begin is to have the bulk of your team going on remote for 3 months as a trial. You do need to commit in order to truly experience and overcome the transitional pains. If you already have experience working with a remote team, I'd love to hear from you. Do you face similar challenges? And how do you overcome them? Do share your story in the comments below and let's learn and grow together. Don't forget to subscribe, check out the additional resources in the description, and I'll see you in this next video on creating high-performance teams. See you there!